Good morning, guys. I'm in Dominica. So that you're all waiting for my crossing videos, but I want to do a good job editing them. To make a video twice as good takes 8 times longer. So this little short video is going to be about making boat hooch, or boat breeze, however you want to call it. Because I've been given quite a lot of free fruit. I'm still in quarantine, but on the boat, and I'm waiting for my second test to come back. So we have a number of challenges to this project because of that. So let's show you around quickly. So here we have a load of star fruit and a few passion fruit. The guy who's been bringing me stuff, the Coast Guard's okay with him doing that, he can put the stuff on the deck and we maintain social distance. Yeah, he's been bringing me some free fruit and stuff like that. Got me a bottle of rum. I'll pay him back once I can go to an ATM. So yeah, these star fruit are obviously in season because he's got loads of them. He's also brought me some water, but we don't have very much left, just these, so 12.5 litres. I'm going to be making the hooch in these fizzy bottles. You'll see why later. But I've drunk out of those with my mouth, and that's no good. You don't want to infect your yeast with any bacteria from your mouth, because natural mouth bacteria includes things like E. coli. So trust me, I know this from experience. You don't want to do that. I think because of the limited amount of water, I'm going to give them a good clean in seawater with soap, rinse them out with seawater, and then rinse using a minimal amount of fresh water as I can, because I'm going to need some water for this as well. So that's the general plan, and I'll come back to you when we've made some progress. Okay guys, so we've done the washing up. We've got a strainer. This is my favourite one. It's actually a kid's beach toy, but it fits perfectly in my pots. But unfortunately I left it in the sun too long and it got cracked, but it's still usable. What we're also going to need is probably this strainer, but you could use cheesecloth or mosquito netting. And you're just going to have to ignore the state of the stove, because I'm not going to clean it with seawater, because that's going to make the corrosion problems worse, and I don't have enough fresh water. So anyway, we've started just like an inch of water in there boiling, and now I'm going to start cutting the fruit. So I'm probably not going to use these greenest ones here, because old fruit is better. In fact, this is if you can get free fruit, making hooch is a really great way to use fruit that is pretty much past it as far as eating is concerned. So now I'm just going to prepare all that. So that's all the star fruit in there. I'm not going to use the passion fruit. There's not actually a lot of fruit in passion fruit, and the passion fruit will keep longer, and I like them. And there's only this one here that's really properly ripe. Now I've got this potato masher. As it boils, I'm going to mash it. I'll bring it down to a simmer once it starts properly boiling, but I'll leave it on high temperature for now. I'm going to be probably adding, it's going to be covered in water pretty much, so water up to the top of the fruit. But I'm just letting it sort of boil before I add more. So now it's all boiling away, or simmering. I've turned the heat down a bit. And we're going to have to do this for some time, because we want this to break down into a mush, basically. Now, I do have a hand blender, but I'm not going to use that because doing it this way is going to make it easier to separate the cellulose later, because we don't want that in the booze. So we're just going to simmer for a real long time until this is until the pieces are basically dissolved, you know. But I'm going to be mashing it to help that along occasionally. We are going to add sugar later, but not at this stage. There's no point. Some of the sugar would probably get dissolved by the cellulose, and it would make the whole solution stronger, so it'll be harder to dissolve everything out of the fruit, if you understand what I'm getting at, you know. There'll be less solvent. So, it's been about an hour now, and oh, it's pretty mushy. I've obviously had to top up the water a few times, which is a good thing, you know, helps dissolve everything. And now it's going to be poured into here. So I've started pouring it into the second pot, for focus, there we go. And this isn't very strong, so I have to be gentle mashing it down. And but yeah, just going to try and mash all the water out of it, give that time to drain, and then this pulp is going to be thrown away. So I forgot I had this mosquito netting to wring out the last of the juice, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Alright, well, this is a bit hot to handle right now, so I'll let it cool down. Right, so this is what we ended up with. That's the pulp that I squeezed out there, the dry, well, relatively dry pulp. And there are other ways you could do that too. Now what I'm going to do, and this isn't completely clean, but it doesn't matter, because the way I'm going to do it is pour this through there, into there, and then back again into here, just to catch most of the bits. So here we are back on the heat. Might as well continue using this as a stirrer, as it's already clean. And now, I'm going to add roughly quarter to a third of its volume in sugar. So you see the pot size there, that's going to raise it up like an inch or something. And then I'll probably add a little bit of water as well, just to bring it up to these rivets here. And so I added the sugar. That's probably just about enough, actually. I would say the amount is probably 20% of volume, 15-20% volume of sugar, which raises it up about 1 centimetre in this case. So, and that's fine. I'm not going to add any more water now because of that, actually, because I don't have any more sugar. And just going to let that boil. Once it's on the boil, keep it going a few more minutes, and just to sterilise everything, and then we'll let it cool down. Boiling away nicely now. Because you want to get the levels in the bottles correct, you're probably going to want to have a little bit of fresh water on hand, and if you're adding fresh water you should probably add extra sugar, but like I said, I don't have any more. Just to top the bottles up to the correct levels, which I shall show you next once. Now it's warm, not hot. You don't want to put the yeast until it's below 60 degrees, so, you know, and about 30 or so is ideal. This is just bread yeast, but you can still easily achieve 8-10% alcohol with that. Obviously, brewer's yeast is much better, and if you buy some, you can reuse the sediment that you'll see later in the process. I'll have to do a second part to this video. This yeast will do just fine, and if you didn't have yeast, you could even just put in some bread from the shop that is made with yeast, not baking soda. That'll be enough to start it off, although that will take slower to get going. And you can try and use natural yeast, just from the air, but that's not going to get you 100% results. You could have a greater quantity of bad alcohol in there, methanol basically. And on that note, You don't want to brew it too hot. I remember reading that creates more methanol. All alcohol that you'll buy from the shop or everything has some small percentage of methanol. It's only really dangerous when that is then distilled into a spirit using proper temperature to remove the methanol, basically concentrating it. I would put links and everything here if there was a danger, but when you're just brewing like this, there's no danger really, you know. But you want to keep the methanol content down as much as possible because that's what gives you a worse hangover. That's why cheap wine you'll buy from the shop can give you a worse hangover than better stuff. So, the ideal temperature being around 25 degrees or so, which should be easy to achieve on the boat, even, well, depending where you are. Some places it might not be so easy to. But, like I said, it's not dangerous. Feel free to look into the science yourself. I won't give exact facts here, just letting you know roughly. Okay, so I'm going to start bottling this up now. I'm going to add the yeast directly to this, about half a teaspoon for each 2 litre bottle. So here we are. It's probably a bit optimistic about how much I would have been able to make. I mean, yeah, you could have doubled that and added more sugar if you wanted to, but if you want the flavour from the fruits, then you shouldn't really go more than 50% water, I'd say. And I don't know why I chose the bottle that was squashed, but that doesn't matter too much because I'm going to leave the lid tight for now. This will expand and these dents will come out. You'll want to keep a close eye on it for the first, until it's finished really. I'll explain what you do now. I'm going to leave it tight because I'll be keeping a close eye on it and I want to get these dents out. But probably for you, you'd want to loosen it just a tiny bit, you know, just at the part where it goes from being difficult to turn to being easy to turn. Ideally, you would wait until some pressure is already in the bottle to do that. And it shouldn't build up that quickly, depending on the temperature and if you didn't use too much yeast or anything. So basically I'm going to put it on tight now, and by the morning the pressure will be at a reasonable amount. These things will actually I have had them explode on me doing this before, but that was at high heat with that I hadn't checked the cap. So anyway, what you'll do is you'll leave it till morning. The fermentation will have started, and at that point you can loosen the cap to where I was saying, just enough so that the gas is slowly escaping, which means you have positive pressure inside and no air can come in. You need to leave about this much room for it to fizz up. Otherwise it can fizz up over the top here and then that gets blocked. So yeah, you'll want to check every now and then that when you turn it, there's not a big pressure escaping, or you'll see the bottle bulging if there's too much pressure, and then you'll know that you have to just turn it a little bit more. And obviously there are other ways to do it, but this is the low-tech way. You can get better results with proper wine yeast or even high alcohol yeast, which will get you up to about 20%. Obviously you'd have to add more sugar in that. And there's some processes to finishing in this. I'm going to be showing you the most simple way of doing that, but there are also better ways of finishing it that I'll explain. The simple ways you can probably do with things that you just have on the boat already, and obviously the more complicated ways will involve more equipment. So it's now only 6 hours later, and most of the dents except this one here have gone, and the bottle feels pretty firm. So let's see if we can do this and show you at the same time. So yeah, you'll hear that gas escape, and you want to stop turning right at the point where the gas escapes. although I'm actually going to close this up for the night just to get this dent out. So the bottle will swell up like a couple of inches before it actually explodes, in my unfortunate experience. As long as you keep an eye on them, they'll be alright. Right, so that's for the basic making of it, and I shall do a short video in the future on how to finish it. Okay, bye for now.